Hey, what's going on, everyone? And welcome back to another episode of Think and Grow Rich Mastermind. If this is your first time here, what this basically is basically there's summaries or a condensed version of each chapter in the book Think and Grow Rich. And perhaps you've never read the book before, or maybe you have read the book, but you still don't understand it and you want things simplified. You want the most important parts of the chapter. This is exactly for you. So with that being said, let's jump right into it. So, welcome to lesson 6, organized planning. And this is a very, very crucial chapter because if you do not have a plan as far as reaching your goal is concerned, then you're playing golf at night because you don't know where you're hitting. And it's very, very crucial to have an organized plan, to give you some clarity, of where you are and where you need to be in order to get to your goal. So, with that being said, let's jump right into it. So, organized planning, the crystallization of turning desire into action. And this is very important because I would say this is the first step of turning a thought into a thing. And this is a physical step in turning thought into a thing because when we have a goal, it's a fantasy. But when we start to put this fantasy, we got to ask ourselves, am I willing and am I able? And if we say yes to both of them, then we start putting things into action. And when you put things into action through organized planning, you're one step closer. So Napoleon Hill talks about how to build practical plans. So step 1, create a group of as many individuals as possible that you will need to carry out your plan and select them carefully. So basically the mastermind principle is what he refers to here. Step 2, before doing so, decide what advantages and benefits you will offer to each individual member of the team in return for their cooperation. Number 3, arrange to meet with your members of the mastermind group minimum twice a week and more often if possible to discuss plans and to perfect them. And number 4, maintain perfect harmony between you and every member of your mastermind. Failure to do so will result in failure to yourself. So what are some important things to keep in mind here? So number 1, you must have a secure plan. Number 2, take advantage of the experience, the abilities, and the education of others, hence the mastermind principle. Number 3, if your plans are met through failure, remember that this is only an opportunity to refresh and build new plans and keep going forward until it becomes a success. Quitters never win and winners never quit. Number 4, money in itself is just energy. It cannot move, it cannot think, cannot talk, but it can hear when someone who desires it calls it to come. Interesting. We'll touch a little bit about that later on. So I want you to think about this. If you're organizing a mastermind with at least 2 or more people, and you being the one in charge, being the leader, you have to assume leadership because you're the organizer of the mastermind, right? So in order to do this successfully, you have to understand the major attributes of leadership. So the following here are the major attributes of leadership. Number 1, courage based upon one's knowledge. I'm sorry, let me repeat that. Courage based upon knowledge of one's path. No one will follow you if you lack self-confidence and courage. Number 2, self-control. If you cannot control yourself, you can never control others. Lead yourself before you lead others. Number 3, a strong sense of justice. No follower will respect you unless you show a strong sense of fairness and justice to everyone involved. Number 4, definiteness of decision. If you're an indecisive person, indecisive, insecure about yourself, you cannot make decisions for yourself, let alone you cannot make decisions for others if you can't make them for yourself. Number 5, definiteness of plans. A successful leader plans his work and then works his plan. Number 6, a habit of doing more than paid for. If you do not go the extra mile, then neither will your followers. Number 7, a pleasing personality. Nobody will follow a leader with a nasty, bitter personality. A successful leader respects and serves his followers happily. Number 8, sympathy. A leader must show sympathy and understand his followers as well as their problems. Number 9, be willing to assume full responsibility. The successful leader must, assume full responsibility of the mistake of his followers since he led them there. Failure to do so is failure to be the leader. Number 10, cooperation. Leadership calls for power, and power calls for cooperation. If a leader does not cooperate, then neither will his followers. Number 11, mastery of detail. A leader must pay attention and master detail and order. So this next position right here, this next slide, how to get the exact position you desire. I want you to think about this and use it as an example. As let's say you're going for a job, let's say you're going for a job interview, or let's say you're going for a promotion. Let's say you could use this anything in general. If you desire to get an exact position, either working with someone or working for a company, whatever it is, here's how you do it. So number 1, decide what kind of job you want. And if it doesn't already exist, perhaps you can create it. Number 2, pick the company or person whom you want to work for. Number 3, study everything you need to know about the employer, such as policies, personnel, promotions, etc. Number 4, analyze what you can offer via your talents and capabilities that separate you from everyone else. Number 5, don't come in with the mentality of, do you have a job for me? This is very important. Let me touch on this real quick. So instead of going in with the expectation and the consciousness of, I want to get hired or I need this job, focus on what you can provide. So instead of going in with that mentality, go in with the mentality of, hey, look, boss, this is how I can serve you. This is how I can add value to you. This is how I can add value to the company. This is what I do best. These are my skills and talents, and here's what I can offer. As opposed to, do you have a job for me or can you hire me? Everyone, you want to stand out, and this is a good way of doing it by showing what you can provide for them. So number 6, once you have everything planned out, arrange with an experienced writer to put it on paper in full detail and neatly. And number 7, present this to the proper person of authority, and they will do the rest. And it's very important here because, these 7 steps right here are very, very crucial. So let's talk about the QQS formula he mentioned. So he's basically, and to be honest with you, I would put the same exact formula along with the previous slide that we just saw, on how to get the exact position you require. So basically, quality plus quantity plus cooperation with the right attitude equals perfect salesmanship of service. Don't forget that. So going the extra mile, what are the benefits of going the extra mile? Giving more and better service than what you are paid for, and adopting this in a habitual manner in a positive mental attitude. Franklin D. Roosevelt paid Napoleon Hill $1 a year for his services. $1 a year. That's basically nothing. But it just goes to show how Napoleon Hill was willing to go the extra mile. How many people are willing, to get paid $1 a year? No one would do that. Not many, actually. But it just goes to show how Napoleon Hill, how far he got in life, as opposed to what everyone else would do. So what are the benefits of going the extra mile? Number 1, it puts the law of increased new terms in motion. Number 2, it will bring attention to others and favor you in providing self-promotional opportunities. Number 3, it allows you to become indispensable in many different human relationships and enables you to command a higher than average compensation. Number 4, it leads to a mental and physical growth in many ways by developing stronger abilities and skill in one's profession. Number 5, it protects you from the loss of employment and puts you in the driver's seat to choose your own job and working conditions. And number 6, you will profit by the law of contrast because most people do not practice the habit of going the extra mile. So, I mean, in reality, it's true because most people don't want to do the extra. They don't want to provide the extra mile because if you think about it, if you ever see someone clock in and sometimes they ask you, hey, can you stay overtime? They don't want to do it because they just want to go home, most people. So the fact of you going the extra mile separates you from everybody else, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're an employee, an employer, whatever it is, this is applicable. Number 7, it leads to a development of a positive attitude, which is a trait of a pleasing personality. Number 8, it develops a strong, alert imagination in form of how one can render more efficient ways of providing service. Number 9, it serves to develop a self-reliance as well as confidence of others in you. Number 10, it is the only logical reason for you to be able to ask for a raise or a promotion, because if you do not do more than you are being paid for, then you will never be paid for more than what you are doing. Man, know thyself. It's very important that you know all your strengths, and you know all your strengths and you know all your weaknesses, and that you eliminate the weaknesses completely. And do a self analysis, an annual self analysis. Track your yearly progress, and just go from there. And the important thing here is make sure you're going forward and make sure you're not going backwards. That's the most important part. So as we conclude this chapter here, what are some key points to know? I would say the first one is planning is very important in any successful undertaking, whether you are on a corporate environment, whether you're an entrepreneur, or even just an average person working on a project. The communication and planned steps towards your endeavor will determine the altitude of your success or failure. Failure to plan is planning to fail. So whatever it is you are doing, your goals for the future, etc., get in the right state of mind, by yourself or, in your mastermind group with a group of people, and create a solid plan for what it is you desire most. Essential leadership is key to any group mastermind, any group success, and in carrying out any plan whatsoever. Leadership is very, very important because like we said earlier, if you cannot lead yourself, then you will never be able to lead others. Always go the extra mile and do more than what you are being paid for. It will catch up to you. By law, you will receive future compensation for it. So never forget that. If no one's paying you right now, you will get compensated for that, no matter what. It's just a law. All right, so how can we apply this into our daily living? What can we do now in order to apply this so that we start applying this chapter in our daily life? So first of all, do you have a definite set plan? A goal without a plan is like a ship without a captain. Sooner or later, you'll either crash or sink. And it's very important because think about you getting in your car. And if you get in the car and if you just start driving, you're going west. But when you get there, you can still go west because you don't have a destination. You're just going west. Does that make sense? So it's very, very important that you have a goal and then you have a definite set plan on how to get there. So assuming that, take 1 or more hours and analyze where you are and where you want to be. Start by creating an easy step-by-step plan. And by that, I mean very, very simple. I literally mean like grab a sheet of paper and write step 1, do this. Step 2, go there. Step 3, do that. Step 4, contact this person, etc. Whatever your plan requires, but write it step by step so that it's easy for anybody to understand. If the plan requires help from others, such as education, experience, abilities of others, and use them, use them and keep it as simple as possible. Clarity is power. So set out a plan that's going to make sure that you get there. If your goal is huge, perhaps set weekly plans, set monthly plans, set annual plans, who knows, but custom this according to your goals and according to your plan, whether it's big or small, only you know how to do it. And the important thing here is to make sure that you're going forwards and not backwards. Make sure that you're holding yourself accountable, that others are holding you accountable. It's very important. If you meet with temporary failure, go back to the drawing board. Failure is not failure unless you accept it as such. To me personally, and the way I would like you to see it, when you fail, look at it as an opportunity to go back to the drawing board and reconstruct your plans. If this isn't working, try it again. If that didn't work, try it again. Try it again. Just keep recreating the plan. Keep recreating what it is that you need in order to get there. Just because you fail once doesn't make you a failure. You're only a failure if you stop, So it's very, very important that you just go back to the drawing board, fix it, come back. And, make sure you do not stop until you have reached your destination. With that being said, I really, really appreciate you guys. Like I said, this chapter is very, very important because if you do not have this plan set, where are you going? Where are you going? And when are you going to start? When are you going to start? And where are you going? Answer that question. Answer it in your head for a little bit. Where are you going? If not now, if the plan isn't written, set in paper, if you don't have a set goal, if you don't have anything written on paper, then when? When? With that being said, guys, I'll let you think about that. I really, really appreciate your time. If you have any questions, go ahead and send me a comment, send me a message. I really would love to hear from you. And I will see you guys next week.